Good morning, everyone. Let me tell you about a young man. He was a child and grandchild of proud German citizen. One day, he found himself running. He was running for his life in those dreadful days of the Holocaust. He ran from hiding place to hiding place in his homeland, and then crossed over into Holland. There, he met an angel in the guise of Pastor Kes Mulan. The pastor, putting his family and his own life in danger, took care of him, finding him safe hideouts in the farms and homes of northern Holland. This young fellow survived the Shoah and immigrated to Israel right after the war. That young man, Reuven Rudolf Kahana, was my grandfather. Therefore, I stand here before you today thanks to the courage and the values displayed by Pastor Mulan, who was later recognized as one of the righteous among the nations. I have another story to tell you. It takes place 8 years later. The summer of 2014, the Hamas leadership in Gaza launched a rocket and missiles attack on Israeli civilians, and Israel was forced into military action. At the time, I was a lieutenant colonel in the Israel Air Force, serving as squadron commander of an X-16 squadron. Early one morning, just a few days after the operation in Gaza had begun, I returned to the base after a raid against terrorist targets. My mind was going over the battle, and I saw him. I thought I was imagining. Pastor Steve, here in the base? I wasn't imagining. My close friend, Pastor Steve Berger, was standing in front of the squadron house and waiting for me. Ladies and gentlemen, I will never ever forget the hug that Pastor Steve gave me. He said to me, and I'm quoting, "I took the first flight I could to come and be here with you, with the member of your squadron whom we love so much. I have come to stand together with the citizens of the State of Israel who are once again under attack, and I come in friendship and compassion in the name of my community and in Tennessee." Pastor Berger, please stand up. Before the end of my speech, you will understand why it was so important for me to open with these two stories. Many people ask me how on earth we found ourselves in a situation in which such a primitive enemy has managed to surprise an army boasting planes, submarines, missile ships, tanks, cannons, and trained soldiers in such a fashion. This question is not important only for us in Israel. It's crucial for the entire Western world. Because in my opinion, if you don't learn from our mistakes, it will happen to you. The sad truth is that we were captive to a conception that held us back and caused us to fail to analyze the information and the intelligence that was plainly in sight. The underlying base of this fatal error is in our grand misjudgment. We thought our enemies are people like us. We projected our own worldview and values onto them. We thought their ambitions mirrored ours to provide their children with better life and brighter future. We made a critical error by not taking them for their word. Even though we heard what they said, we dismissed it as too extreme to be true. Please allow me to share with you an interview I saw firsthand. You might not be aware of this, but approximately 250,000 Palestinians receive medical care in Israeli hospitals every year. A journalist interviewed the mother of one such Palestinian child, a child who had undergone cancer treatment in Israel. The mother expressed deep gratitude towards the nurses, the doctors, the hospital, and even the state of Israel. Yet, when asked what her hopes and dreams were for her child, do you know what she answered? Shahid, a martyr. She wants him to be a martyr. This mother wants her son to be a suicide bomber who killed Jews. You know, friend, in a survey conducted by Palestinian pollsters just after October 7th, at the time when the whole world already knew the atrocities were committed by Hamas, after they had begun to realize what a heavy price they were paying and will pay for the wars they started, it was found that 83% of Palestinian citizens supported the action of Hamas. Dear friends, we, all of us, need to recognize that our enemies have a fundamentally different mindset from our own. They are driven by hatred and would rather embrace death than life. We must also understand that when our enemies make a statement, they really mean it. When Hamas says that they intend to destroy Israel, they mean it. When Hezbollah is stockpiling 200,000 missiles and rockets and threatening to destroy Israel, they mean it. And when Iran, a member state of the United Nations, said time and time again that it intends to destroy Israel and work very hard to achieve nuclear weapons, they mean it. As for the nation of the world, when radical Muslims say they plan to spread Sharia laws, Islamic religious law, they mean it without question. And dear friend, unlike us in the Western world, with our fixation on instant results, they have the patience to follow through on their objectives. By the time you wake up, it might be too late. This isn't just distant possibility anymore. It's happening now, a reality. In certain areas of Europe, entire neighborhoods have become inaccessible to native residents. Dear friends, when Israeli flags are burned in Iran, they never burn alone. It's always paired with the stars and stripes. They refer to us as a little Satan, but you, the great American nation, are the principal enemy. You embody everything they hate. They call you the great Satan. Unfortunately, there are too many fools in the world who are working against the state of Israel. Too many fools who do not understand that the state of Israel is fighting their war for them. We are fighting for you. Too many have chosen to embrace the side of the absolute evildoers. I hope that they don't wake too late, because one day you will find that women have to wear garments that cover their entire body with slit holes only for their eyes. Then suddenly you will look up as men and women fly through the air after being thrown from the roofs, and you will realize that this is what they do to people who are part of the LGBT community. And by the way, this is exactly what's happening today in Gaza. So who on earth are they supporting? My dear friends, brothers, can I ask you to please take two things from my words with you here today? One, our enemies are motivated by a completely different set of values than ours. Two, our enemies really mean what they say and they have the patience. Yet, despite of these facts, I have to tell you that I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic because of the two stories that I opened my speech with. I'm optimistic because of people like you. People who know how to distinguish between good and evil. People who know how to distinguish between terrorists and those who fight against them. People who trust in the Lord and His divine promises, knowing that God blesses those who support His people. I know You will continue to be there for us because I am full of faith and hope that we have you on our side. Thank you. You who understand that we are fighting together against a mutual enemy that endangers us all. Thank you.